Welcome back to Footballology. So now it's time for us to build the 2022 Chicago Bears roster. But first, let's take a look back at their 2021 season. We go and we see that they finished the year at 6-11, which this was definitely one of those teams that we felt like had high playoff hopes, especially with their defense that they had intact. They had a really competitive and strong defense. Starting out with the passing game, bringing in Justin Fields and Andy Dalton last year. I think Nick Foles kind of showed up this year too, or showed up in 21. But as you can see, they just did not pit a lot of numbers out. 61 completion percentage as a team, and then we had another 3,600 yards and only 16 passing touchdowns to 20 interceptions, and that's as a team. Now we expected Justin Fields to struggle. He's a rookie quarterback. I mean, what else would you really hope for at that point? But this is definitely the one area of the game that you hope that they can improve upon. And then we come down, we look at some of their receiving, which if their passing is struggling, their receiving is going to struggle. But we still had Mooney putting up 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. So that's very positive. With that passing struggle that they had, you had 3 different quarterbacks. You had 2 quarterbacks taking over 200 attempts, and then you had Nick Foles in the mix in there. But realistically, for Mooney to still put up 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns is very impressive. So to put their eye on him. And then Cole Kmet, I think it was just a young tight end that's still trying to find his way. Granted, that can only get better. They did lose Allen Robinson, but Allen Robinson with 400 yards, that's just wild. And that's in 12 games. That's crazy. And Mooney did his in 14 starts, but he played 17 games. So, and then Cole Kmet giving you 17 games, that's quality. So I feel like we had pass catchers for sure in Chicago. It was just a quarterback situation. Then we come over and we look at the rushing situation. Montgomery ended up getting hurt for a couple of games because I actually had him on my fantasy team. But Montgomery wound up getting hurt for a couple of games, but he was definitely having a strong season before he went out. And I think did he come back? I want to say he came back and even finished stronger too. So, but he did something, and then Khalil Herbert came in those absence games for Montgomery, and he ran the ball pretty well too. So I think we can confidently say that Chicago possibly has a 2-headed monster in the backfield. Some guys that they can both rely on, and probably can do some of the similar things too. So this is going to be really impressive for them moving forward with a young quarterback, having those 2 backs back there, and just being able to rely on them when things gets a little bit tough, especially with the new regime coming in and everything. So scrolling down, and then we get to the defense. And like I said at the opening, their defense was highly competitive. Roquan Smith being the beast that he is, I like Roquan a lot. Roquan is definitely a solid linebacker. You see he had an interception, a touchdown, a pass deflection, 3 sacks, combined for 163 tackles. Is that right? I feel like that's really low. That's not right. Am I reading that right? Yeah, it says combined. That's not right. 163? Is that right? That feels off. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, Roquan being the leader there, doing what he does from the linebacker position. And then we can see what they did with the interceptions last year. Gibson with 2, Bush with 2. Roquan had his 1. Harris, I don't know how Houston Carson got 1. Jalen Johnson, I think he was a DB that actually showed up for them a lot last year. But we come down, we only had 8 total interceptions. And that's unacceptable for a Bears defense. Like I said, this was a competitive defense. They definitely had some pieces out there taking care of business, but it wasn't that defense that we were accustomed to when Vic Fangio was there. I had to think about that for a second. But when Vic was there, that defense was and it was still a good defense. But as you can see, Robert Quinn led us in sacks in 18.5, which is beautiful. And then we had Gibson with another 7 sacks. Khalil Mack, I think, he didn't play a lot last year, and that definitely hurt them. And then Akeem Hicks being a solid piece in the middle of the defense with 3.5 sacks, excuse me. And we needed that too. So, from Akeem Hicks, 3.5 sacks, I'll take that any day of the week. But overall, looking at this defense, they have pieces to build upon. Even though losing some guys, I still feel like they have some solid pieces they can build upon and really move forward. I believe that the Chicago defense won't be the reason why they win games this year, in my personal opinion. But we're say that for the later part of the video. Let's move on to the next step, and we're gonna look at some of these free agent acquisitions. So now we get over to these free agent acquisitions, and you look, bringing in Byron Pringle from Kansas City. I know about him. He's a pretty solid possession receiver, somebody possibly could rely on 3rd downs, but I'm just not 100% on board with that. And then you look at some of these other guys. Not a lot of these guys really stood out. They brought back Houston, obviously, at the safety position. Young, that was the one that stood out to me. Tavon Young, another Baltimore DB that I felt like was a really good player. Matthew Adams, outside linebacker. James O'Shaughnessy, the tight end position. Tajay Sharp, Dennis Pitta, Dante Pettis. I don't know where I said Dennis Pitta for. Dante Pettis, and that could be a really interesting pickup too. And then that's really St. Brown. That's the one, and also Equanimous St. Brown. And this is really really interesting, really interesting. Once I start actually digging into this video, so they definitely, I feel like they had quality pass rushers, but I think they were trying to replace the production of Allen Robinson and possibly get somebody else out there with Mooney, and then really kind of move forward from there. And I can see that, and I can completely agree with all of that, and I'm on board with every bit of that, honestly. The defense didn't need a lot of help, but bringing in some of the guys that they brought in, I think definitely helps them kind of move forward in a direction they wanted to offensively. So now we get over to our draft board. Now this is where it gets interesting for me. I like that they brought in Brisker at the safety position. I thought he was a pretty good safety from Penn State, a really good power safety, and that's something that I think he kind of fits the Bears if you really think about it. And that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think if you're a Bears fan. Then Kyler Gordon, I thought that was a solid corner. He was a really solid corner. And you guys got him in the second round. He was projected first round. I thought the Chiefs were going to mess around and get him, but we didn't because yeah, we didn't. So you guys got Kyler Gordon, and I think that was a good one. I like Jones from Tennessee. I was starting to do more and more research on him as the draft approached, and I was really high on him. You guys already know about Braxton Jones if you're a fan of the channel. If you're not, go look back a couple of videos. You know about Braxton Jones, and I'm really excited for that. Dominique Robinson from Miami, Ohio. I thought he was a good long edge rusher. Once again, a solid pickup. And this is just overall looking at this draft, kind of addressing some things that you guys need, and then just kind of bringing in some competition pieces. Honestly, I think the top half of the draft, and with you guys not having a first round pick, this is still a solid draft in my personal opinion. I like these first 4 picks right here. I think these first 4 picks, maybe even 5 picks, can be impactful guys. Even Zach Thomas. I didn't even think about Zach Thomas. That's on me. That's on me. Zach Thomas from San Diego State was a solid pickup too. So like all of this, I think could possibly be something or can net something. And this is just a solid draft for a team that not have a first round pick, and really a kind of, I'm not gonna say a lackluster, but not that of exciting of a free agency class. I think that this is a solid pick. And so something else that we don't see here too, and I probably should have gotten into this a little bit earlier, but Ryan Poole came in as you guys' GM, and I know about him because obviously from Kansas City and everything he's done, and I commend him for this offseason thus far. Now the free agency period wasn't that strong because I think he liked what you guys had on the roster, but at the same time trying to just add pieces to see what he's missing. And then this draft class is really strong because a lot of these guys feel like Bears, like if that makes any sense at all. Like a lot of these guys can feel like they could be possibly Chicago Bear players. And then we come over and we see that we got Matt Eberflus coming over for Indianapolis, and he was the DC over there for the last couple of years. And I think that's a really good, because really, if we're being honest, the Indianapolis defense has been competitive and strong, and they've had one of the best inside linebackers, or I guess you would say off-ball linebackers, and Darius Leonard in the league for the last couple of years. And now he gets Roquan Smith, so it's not going to be a really big transition for his defense and what he wants to do defensively there. This was good too. Luke Getsy, I think he came over from from Green Bay, if I remember correctly. We're gonna check it out real quick. I think he came over from Green Bay when I looked at it, and if that's right, okay, yeah. So he's the passing game coordinator in Green Bay. So we already know, once again, like I told you guys in previous videos, when we know where a coordinator is coming from, or at least where his family tree, if you will, has kind of branched off from, we know what his scheme is going to be like. So we're going to look at a lot of bootlegs, a lot of zone run, a lot of just kind of moving the quarterback. And with Justin Fields being the possible starting quarterback, that's really, really good for this system. And he's going to be able to use Justin Fields' legs to the best of his ability. I'm kind of excited for that, honestly. I think that's going to be really exciting, considering, because I'm a fan of that zone blocking scheme that, for me, I would say Mike Shanahan, because I think that's where it really kind of stemmed from. And then, Kyle, obviously, and then everybody that's branched off the Kyle Shanahan tree. But I think that you look at that Denver's offense back when Mike Shanahan was in Denver and how fluid it was. That was always, it was a while there. He was just plugging any running back in there. Like, I'm what, 5'11", 280 on a good day. I'm pretty heavy, but in my best years, I guess you could say, I could possibly be a good running back for Mike Shanahan just because of how that zone blocking scene was, and just how it just seems like to open up things always for the run game. And I mean, he's been doing it for years, and no one can ever stop it. So it's like it's insane. So I'm excited for this because this can be beneficial for Justin Fields and also for David Montgomery. Got off subject for a second there. And then we come down with Alan Williams. I think he came over from Indianapolis with Eberflus, if I remember correctly when I was doing my research. And so Chicago Bears, and yeah, so he was in safeties. He was the safety coach, I guess. Yeah, so he was the safeties coach, which is DB coach essentially. And I like that, considering the fact that now we know that the secondary is going to play something similar like the Indianapolis secondary did. And when Matt Eberflus was there over the last couple of seasons, I thought it was a competitive secondary. I don't think it was a strong secondary, but you see when they had Xavier Rhodes back there, how that defense really played to a high level. And so it was going to be interesting. And even having one of the best nickel corners in the league, so hopefully he can possibly get somebody out of this system that could possibly be that new nickel, if you know what I mean. So with all that being said, kind of trying to make this video short because I realized my Lions video was stupid long. All that being said, we're going to jump over and go ahead and build out our roster. So we're on the NFC North. We're going to get down to the Bears. But we're going to get into this. So first off, quarterback position, I think it goes without saying, Justin Fields is going to be our guy, 100%. Just Justin Fields. That's, whatever. We kind of, quarterback is always the easy one. Running back, I think we're always going to go with David Montgomery, but looking at some of the pieces that they possibly have back here with guys like, Khalil Herbert, like we said, and Tuggle. I think Tuggle is somebody, his name sounds really familiar, and I can't put my finger on it right now. But, they got pieces back there that could possibly rotate in and out. I really like that. And then we're going to come over to the tackle position. Now, this is where it gets interesting for me personally, because they got Davenport there. They got Gene there. Jenkins. Did we give Jenkins another start at the tackle position? I honestly forgot to have Jenkins. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. No cap at all. I don't know why I said that. That was weird. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna go with Jenkins at the tackle. I think he actually played a couple of games there, and they actually liked what they seen from him. So then we come over to the guard position. Now here's gonna get interesting at the guard position because I think it might be Cody Whitehair here, and then we come over to, and I might be wrong about Cody Whitehair, but I think it could possibly be Cody Whitehair there. And then the center position, who we got at center? Lucas Patrick? I don't know anything about Lucas Patrick. You know anything about Lucas Patrick? I'm kind of confused. All right, here we go. Offensive line always gets me. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, so you ever had that moment where you just realize that you completely fucked up and you should have paid more attention? Lucas Patrick, I forgot, was actually a quality center. I literally just looked at the free agency tracker. I forgot that he was actually a decent center for Green Bay. I genuinely forgot about that. And so looking that seeing that he's came over from Green Bay, they had him as a guard, but here they put him at center. So, right? Yeah, so they had him at guard here, but on my roster they have him at center, which I can definitely see that being a thing because I think, if I remember correctly, Green Bay kicked him out to guard for somebody else at center. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly. So then we come over to the right guard position. Now, when I was looking at some of the guards, I know about Dakota Dozer. I think he's a pretty good guard. But when I was looking at some of the offensive linemen, none of these names are reoccurring names. Like this is a whole new group of guys here. So I'm not sure if Cody is going to play left guard or right guard. I put him at left guard. I think this would be a good set for him, because I think he's a more veteran, a more tuned guard. And so you put him against next to a young tackle and Jenkins and really give him opportunity. I think both of your tackles are going to be young regardless. But that's what we're going to go with right now. I feel comfortable with that. Like I said, I know who Dakota Dozer is, but that's just kind of like, from past knowledge. But looking at some of these guards, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, honestly. Carter, maybe? I'm just taking a shot in the dark because I don't know who Jatri. I don't know how to say his name now. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Gotta look this man up. Gotta learn something. Learn me something. So I ahead and looked up again. I came over to the Bears roster and I started looking at some of these offensive linemen here. And I'm looking, a lot of these guys are on the younger side. So it's gonna be a cap position, I feel like, at this point, because you can do a lot of things. I like Davenport, but I feel like Davenport's more of a tackle. Same thing for Larry here, I feel like he could be possibly a tackle, but I know a lot of those Mizzou guys are kind of like bigger guards and centers, so that could possibly be a thing too. Um, we know Braxton Jones is going to be a tackle, so it's like a lot of these guys have opportunity to be different positions. And with that being said, like how do they view Zachary Thomas? Do they view him as a guard or do they view him as a center? Because it just says offensive lineman here. So I think a lot of these pieces are going to be interchangeable. With that being said, and me knowing what I know, um, I think I I think I want to go with Zachary Thomas for some reason. Don't know why. Some's telling me Zachary Thomas at guard. That could be wrong. Could be hella wrong. But then I wound up starting two rookies because I was definitely looking at Braxton Jones. But that's kind of a bias there. But I feel like Braxton Jones could be easy at left tackle. But now, do we pit Davenport over here? Because I think Davenport's going to wind up starting. Do we do Davenport on the right tackle and Jenkins on the left tackle, or do we do Jenkins on the left tackle or on the right tackle and vice versa? But this is my working theory right now. I think Justin Fields being a young guard or young quarterback, give him a young tackle and Jenkins, let these two kind of be a thing and just let it run. You know what I mean? And then that might be another possibility. What you're looking at here, as far as bringing in some young offensive lines and just kind of let your offensive line grow with your quarterback. So that could be a possibility. And I'm really, really on board with that, honestly. So this offensive line, as bad as it was, because it was shaky last year, I think that it still has a lot of upside and it has a lot of potential there. Like I said, no one's has a significant home, but looking at my roster and how everything is kind of set up, I think Dakota Dozer is automatically like a swing guard, interior guy. I don't think he starts. Carter was a rookie. Like I said, Larry could possibly even be guard. So I think one of these guys that says tackle going to possibly play guard. I would like to see Braxton Jones get some starting time, but that's kind of biased in my opinion because he's a footballology guy. But I think that, Davenport's going to wind up getting that starting position. This is your offensive line with the right side being all camp position, in my opinion. I think all these two are going to be camp positions. Whoever wins, let the best man take the job. Coming over to the tight end position, I think Cole Kmet, honestly, without a doubt, this dude's going to be a beast. He might, if Justin Fields can get it together, he's going to have a good season. Then we come out to our slot receiver. Now, when we're looking at our slot receiver, now this is interesting because I feel like Mooney definitely gives you that opportunity to play some slot there. But the way I'm looking at all the pieces right here, I like Daz Newsome too. I've been following Daz Newsome, obviously because of North Carolina and all that rigmarole. Let's say we do something like this where Byron Pringle can be the interior guy. I don't feel like he's a true slot, and I think Jones could possibly take that position from him, in my personal opinion. And it could be like, even Pettis could possibly come in and take that position, honestly. I think Mooney plays the outside, so I'm not looking at Mooney. Sharp could possibly play the inside too. So you have several options at this slot position. But because, Pringle's also, I think he got into some trouble too. You know what? Let's just do it. So we're gonna put Jones Jr. at the slot position. We're gonna come out here at the 2, and then we're gonna look at Mooney at the 2. And then I think because of the system, I think St. Brown gets the 1. So this is going to be our wide receiver, very inexperienced, inexperienced, very, very inexperienced. But I think that with that being said, they have a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of talent there. And if this connection, Fields and St. Brown can be a thing, Fields commit can be a thing, our pass catchers can go off. And like I said, I truly, truly believe that the defense won't be the reason why Bears win a lot of games this year. Just because of how young this offense is and how explosive it could possibly be. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Moving to the cornerback position, looking at our 1. Now, this is where it gets interesting because there's so many good pieces back here. In my opinion, I think they have a lot of good guys that could possibly play. Watch Jalen. So it's Jalen Jones and Jalen Johnson. That's funny. Lamar Jackson, he played for the Jets last year. I could be wrong. So Johnson, I'm pretty sure it was Johnson, right? It was Johnson. Yeah. Johnson gave us a lot of play at the cornerback position. He's going to move to the 1. We're going to come up to the free safety position. Should be where he be. Should be Eddie. Yeah, Eddie. Hands down, no brainer. Eddie Jackson, one of the better free safeties in the league right now. Moving to the strong safety position. Now, this is where we might end up looking at Brisker because I think he's a good box safety. I think he definitely gives you a lot of play in the box. But then we also got Young, who could possibly play some there too. But they have Young at corner. So do we look at Young as a nickel? So let's do something like this. Well, we put Brisker at the strong, let him come down, be a banger in the box, and then we do Young. If I remember, Young, not quite like undersized, but he's a smaller corner, right? Let's see. I feel like that's right. See, Lamar Jackson's a longer corner. Johnson, Jones. That's just trying to play with my brain. Bo Peeps. Okay, this is a Kansas City guy. So funny. Side note. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, Young is definitely gonna play that nickel position. And like I said, we know whether there's Alan Williams is the DC. So yeah, so we know, you know what he does with them nickels, because Kenny Moore, solid nickel. So we're gonna put Young at the nickel, and then we're gonna come over here, and I think it's a no-brainer that we pick Gordon at the 2, and kind of let that run, let that play out, and let it see what happens. But you know, you could be looking at a guy like Lamar Jackson, Michael Joseph. Who'd that be? Who Michael Joseph be? He also got, see, and this is crazy because on their website they have everyone as a DB. So I mean, once again, everything is wide open. You could be playing corner one weekend, and then next weekend you come out and be playing safety. You don't know. And so maybe that's something they're trying to implement. Maybe they just want a lot of versatility in their DBs, and especially with Ryan Poole coming over from Kansas City. I keep bringing up Kansas City. I'm not trying to do it on purpose. It's just because of Ryan Poles. I can't call him Ryan Poles. Since he came over from Kansas City, I think that was something that we definitely implemented here. Just having the versatile secondary players, but I think ultimately all these guys are going to wind up getting their positions, and there's going to be a lock and load and just let it roll. So I don't know. I like that secondary though. It's got good experience, and good combination of youth. So it's going to be a really strong secondary. And then we come down to the defensive front. Now, because of the Indianapolis Allen Williams connection, I think we're going to run a 4-man front, a 4-3. So we're going to come down here looking at our defensive ends. Mario Edwards is a really strong. It's at a really hard edge. Holy crap. They don't have any defensive ends. Are you kidding me? No. What? Hold on, maybe. So are we looking at a run in a 4-3? Okay, so we might be looking at a run in a 4-3. Okay, my roster is jacked up. Give me a minute. Okay, so I think I figured it out. I figured out this front. I really thought this was going to be an open and shut case, but I just did not realize you guys lost that many pieces. So we're going to go with Mike Pennell here, obviously defensive tackle, tall guy like him there. We got Mario Edwards, a defensive end here, and then we're going to do Robert Quinn. I just added in as defensive end, took him out as an outside linebacker. Adams is going to be a run and tackling linebacker from everything I've seen. Moreau, I didn't realize he came over from the Raiders, so that can be a possibility. Roquan, we already know about him. Jesus, this front was bad. And so then we got Muhammad as a swing, or a guy that can come in sparing moments. Robinson. So a lot of these guys are just going to come in here and there, but I think Mario Edwards is going to be your strong starter. And then Quinn coming off the edge. I put Pennell there because I like him as a run stopper. I think he's just a good, strong interior guy, but this can easily change. I think that we're looking at the DT's 2 position, and we're looking at the right guard and right tackle position as all camp positions. So we got 3 camp positions that I feel unsettled about, but that's just my personal opinion. Wow. I just did not realize how much you guys lost this offseason. I genuinely did not pay attention at all to how much you guys lost this offseason. It was crazy. So crazy. My mind is still blown, and that took way too long. Obviously the wide receivers I think are going to be out for camp positions as well, but that's going to be that. Now, once again, I still stand on what I said. I definitely believe that this young Bears offense is going to be the reason why y'all win some games, but that's just where I'm at right now with it all. I think that's it. So with all that work and all that being said, I definitely feel like you guys deserve a B. Mainly because I didn't realize how much you guys lost in the offseason, and didn't realize how much you guys replaced a lot of that. Not replaced it, but definitely brought in some competitors at those positions. So I'm really interested to see how this team is going to move forward, but also bringing in a new GM and a new head coach, and just kind of really trying to lay down this Bears foundation, and hopefully surrounding your quarterback with young talent as well, with wide receivers, and then all young offensive linemen that could possibly grow with them, and let this offense grow, kind of similar to, I hate to say this because I've been saying it on video, but like the Chiefs. So you get a young quarterback, you got a young running back, you get a young offensive line, you get a young wide receiving core, and kind of really let them grow together. And especially Mooney, Fields, and St. Brown, I think that can be a dangerous trio right there if we give it time to grow and really develop into something special. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. If you're Chicago Bears fans, please let me know what you think about that roster, because that was brutal. That was brutal. I thought that was going to be an open and shut case. I thought it was going to be wham bam. I thought at least out of the 22 positions, or I guess you would say 25, I thought that I was going to easily lock in a 18 and 19 of them. No, I was completely wrong. But anyways, if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a footballologist yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Gonna subscribe to the YouTube channel today, become a footballologist, and stay safe, football fans.